Shalom. First and foremost, we like to give all honor and glory and praise unto
Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem,
Rakak
Rakak
Radash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, to all the Akim out there teaching and preaching this truth with 144% sincerity, to the men, women, and children listening and learning, to the Bayashir Devadat, the house of David. I am Ayashatab.
I am Darash.
I'm Karatza.
All right, and we're coming to you through the will and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right, with the next installment of The Art of War. All right, but without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get to it.
Alright, this is going to be part 3, Attack by Stratagem. Sun Tzu said, in the practical art of war, the best thing of all is to take the enemy's country whole and intact. To shatter and destroy it is not so good. So, too, it is better to recapture an army entire than to destroy it. To capture a regiment, a detachment, or a company entire than to destroy them. Hence, to fight and conquer in all your battles is not supreme excellence. Supreme excellence consists in breaking the enemy's resistance without fighting. Thus, the highest form of generalship is to balk the enemy's plans. The next best is to prevent the junction of enemy forces. The next in order is to attack the enemy's army in the field, and the worst policy of all is to besiege walled cities. The rule is not to besiege walled cities if it can possibly be avoided. The preparation of mantlets, movable shelters, and various implements of war will take up the 3 whole months, and the piling up of mounds over against the walls will take 3 months more. The general, unable to control his irritation, will launch his men to assault like swarming ants, with the result that 1/3 of his men are slain, while the town still remains untaken. Such are the disastrous effects of a siege. Therefore, the skillful leaders subdue the enemy's troops without any fighting. He captures their cities without laying siege to them. He overthrows their kingdom without lengthy operation in the field. With his forces intact, he will dispute the mastery of the empire, and thus, without losing a man, his triumph will be complete. This is the method of attacking by stratagem. 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 5.
2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 5. All right, this is the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 5. And it reads, cast down the imagination and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of the power, and bringing into captive every thought to the, what is that? Slakia. Ordinance?
Obedience.
Oh, Slakia. Obedience.
Right there.
Obedience of Mashiach. Water.
So, casting down imaginations, like casting down every purpose or thought or instruction, and casting down every imagination, every high thing that exalts itself. So, high thing that exalts himself, whether it be a person or a building, or even an idol, and to itself against the knowledge of the power. That knowledge of that power is talking about those people that are in high places, and bring into captivity, bringing those that you're bringing them down into under your rule, every thought into the obedience of that person, of that Lord at that time. So basically bringing down a person's stronghold and bringing it under your rule, bringing it down into submission.
And you can elaborate on that just a little bit, is, subduing a nation, Yahweh Shem Shai subduing a nation, by his will, because to take the very essence and knowledge of the power, all right, and bringing unto captive every thought and every obedience of Hamashiach, all right. So that's totally submerging, all right. That's better. It's a better way I could say it.
Yeah. All right. Next is It is the rule in war If our forces are 10 to the enemy's 1, to surround him, if 5 to 1, to attack him, if twice as numerous, to divide our army into 2. If equally matched, we can offer battle. If slightly inferior in number, we can avoid the enemy. If quite unequal in every way, we can flee from him. Hence, though an obstinate fight may be made by a small force, in the end it must be captured by the larger force. Now the general is the bulwark of the state, meaning he's the defense. If the bulwark is complete at all points, the state will be strong. If the bulwark is defective, the state will be weak. There are 3 ways in which a ruler can bring misfortune upon his army: by commanding the army to advance or to retreat, being ignorant of the fact that it cannot obey. This is called hobbling the army. Number 2, by attempting to govern an army in the same way as he administers a kingdom, being ignorant of the conditions which obtain in an army. This causes restlessness in the soldiers' minds. Number 3, by employing the officers of his army without discrimination, through ignorance of the military principle of adaptation to circumstances. This shakes the confidence of the soldiers. But when the army is restless and distrustful, trouble is sure to come from the other feudal princes. This is simply bringing anarchy into the army and flinging victory away. Leviticus 26 and 19.
This is Leviticus chapter 26, verse 19, and it reads, "And I will break the pride of your power, and I will make your heaven as iron, and your earth as brass."
So break the pride of your power, that pride, to break down that pride of your power and to make your heaven, which is your rulership, as, read again, make your heaven as...
It will make your, it says, "And I will make your heaven as iron, and your earth as brass."
So heaven as your rulership, your iron meaning bringing you into submission or oppression, and your earth being your land, the land you own, and bring it into brass. And if you look up the word brass in more detail, it means brazen, and brazen means bare. So when someone takes the pride of your power, makes your heaven your rulership, and subdues it, makes it theirs, makes your land theirs, they're taking everything away from you. That's their victory, making you to submit. They'll take everything from you. You have nothing. You have no choice but to just give up and surrender. The old saying, if you can't beat them, join them. Next is, thus we may know that there are 5 essentials for victory. He will win who knows when to fight and when not to fight. He will win who knows how to handle both superior and inferior forces. He will win whose army is animated by the same spirit throughout all its ranks. He will win who prepared himself, waits to take the enemy unprepared. He will win who has military capacity and is not interfered with by the sovereign. Proverbs 21 and 5.
Proverbs 21 and 5.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 21 and verse, page 2. Proverbs chapter 21 and verse 5. And it reads, "The thought of the diligent tend only to plenteousness, but to every one that is hasty only to want."
So, when it comes to being diligent, you have to take it seriously. You have to immerse yourself into it. Have a passion for it. And to be plenteous means, to have that abundance. And the thought of the hasty, those who like to rush in without, just being ignorant, without doing their own diligence, it brings to ruin. In this case, it'd be poverty, because when in the art of war, when one nation is being subdued by another, that one nation that's being subdued, they're being stripped of everything: military, their economy, their goods, everything. They're brought to poverty, and their way of life and everything. They're being integrated into that other nation, becoming a part of it, submerging. Hence the saying, if you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. If you know yourself but not the enemy, for every victory gained, you will also suffer a defeat. If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle. 2 Corinthians 2 and 11.
Kind of 2 Corinthians 2 and 11, but Satan should get advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices.
And another word for Satan is adversary. So unless Satan gets an advantage of it, for we are not ignorant of his devices, we know better not to fall for his trickery, because we know what he's up to, we know what he plans to do and how he plans to do it. And if we tend to be ignorant, we will succumb, meaning we will give in, we will lose, and we'll suffer a loss. So that's why, like it says, to know your enemy and know yourself. So that's part of excuse me, that's part of another precept would be 2 Timothy 2 and 15, study to show thyself approved. Roughly paraphrasing, just to be aware and to know better, to know yourself and how you work, and as well as the enemy, and how they work and what they plan to do and how they plan to do it. So that way you can better prepare yourself and act accordingly.
Jake unwillingly sinned because he's not aware. He's not aware of the things that Esau is putting out there to make him go off. Even though that's that sin is for the most part out of our control. We have to do to the best of our ability, to combat it. So we don't fall. But that's the difference from the 2/3 and the 1/3. The 1/3, actually attempts to look into things that he's doing, to not go off, But you got Jake out there just going with whatever he tells you, whatever is pleasing.
And all these snares that Esau lays, Jake just falls right into it. Just goes for it, like moth to a flame.
You trust in your oppressor. You trust in your oppressor and continue to have that. What is it? Stockholm syndrome.
Right.
And like part 3 in the Art of War series, attack by stratagem. And a lot of these snares and gradualism, that's part of Esau's strategy to get you to basically see things and do things his way, to put your trust in him when you're not supposed to do that.
And what is he? He's a hunter,
Yep. Cunning hunter, a man of the field. You got anything?
No, I'm good.
Well, that was Art of War Series 3. I hope it was edifying to the sheep. And once again, I'd like to give all honor, glory, and praise unto
Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakodash.
Double honors and respect to the elders of the Apostle Great Millstone, to all the Akim and Aqua out there that are preaching, teaching, and listening, and learn with all truth and sincerity. And to the elect house of David, we give you our sincere salutations. See you on the next lesson, Lord willing. Shalom.
Shalom.